Jesse, well, let's talk a little about, first-time home buyers. They do want a good deal. People are excited
Absolutely.
for that stuff. So when you start looking at that and you start talking to people who are going to buy houses, where do they start? Where do you recommend they start?
Well, as Ryan was mentioning earlier, a lot of buyers, first-time home buyers, they come in with already doing a whole bunch of research online, and which is great. And then they come to me or they come to Ryan, and they say, "Hey, we want a deal." And from there, it's all about education, and it's all about getting them to understand what's going on with the market. And like Ryan was saying, it's incredibly important for all buyers to go and talk to a lender as near to the beginning as possible, because they might have something on their credit that they don't know about, and they just might not be able to qualify for that. So when they come to me, we sit down, we have a great conversation, and we talk about what it is that they want, where their future is, if this is the home of their dreams, if this is just, their first home, that sort of thing. And then I send them off to see a lender, because they've got to be able to get that piece taken care of so that they know how much they can qualify for and what's realistic. So there's just so much information out there. When they come to me, they generally have done a lot of research online, or they read it in the newspaper, or dear old mom and dad have shared everything that they know about buying a house.
Joe the plumber.
40 years ago.
Yeah,
exactly.
The uncle who plumbs always knows something about buying houses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, it's all about hearing what they have to say, because that's really important, because everybody has something to say and something to share. And then it's about educating that process going forward and coming to an understanding, both parties coming to an understanding, both parties being me and the buyers, and then moving forward.
And so what do you do? I mean, what do you do to help them get to that understanding? Because there's got to be a lot of clutter to clear, I would imagine.
Absolutely. There is a lot of clutter. And like I said earlier, it's about listening. I've got to be a great listener, and I've got to hear what they have to say, and I've got to hear what their thoughts on the market are, because one person's opinion on the market is going to be very different than everybody else's opinion. So going from there, understanding what they want, what they need, what their knowledge factor is, and once they've talked to Ryan or a lender and they go out with me and we start looking at houses, then we can really kind of start to pare it down and figure it out. But like Mark was saying, the market is different right now. There's low inventory on the market right now. And we're just out there, and houses are popping off the market left and right.
Yes, so that's kind of one of those big parts. I mean, educating first-time homebuyers. It's one thing to go in and educate them on the terms and the glossary and what they're going to go through.
Sure.
But educating them on the current market, I think, is also probably just as important. So they understand what's going on around them.
Absolutely. And honestly, the first time or two that we go out, they're going to start understanding this market, which is going to be different than the market that we're going to experience, come fall. And next year, we just don't know what's going to happen. So, we go out, we get in the car, we start driving around, we get to know what they want. And for example, I was taking some clients out last week, and I was up in Snohomish, and logged into the key box, got into the house. 5 minutes later, I got a call from the realtor. "Hey, I see that you just got into the house. I don't know if your clients like it or not. We've been on for a day and a half. We have an offer on the house." So that right there, educates buyers quicker than anything else, because, they understand that the market is hot, and that we need to really start moving forward to get where they want to be.
We're here with Jesse Paulson, broker with RE/MAX. Jesse, you say the market's hot, and that's a change, obviously, from where we were 6 months ago, let alone 2 months ago. Once they lose that first house, or they can't buy it because somebody else has, you say that that's the big learning point, right?
Absolutely.
From that point forward, I guess, what is some of the best advice you can give somebody who's maybe a first-time homebuyer and going through that process?
I would say that, it depends on where they are in the process. But if they're pre-approved, ready to rock and roll, and they've lost that house that they want, then we need to, if something pops up on the market that they love, they're going to have to take action. They're going to have to move. And, it's hard to hear that because we look back, early 2007 and before that, and people were doing that, and, we were having multiple offer bidding wars early on, and then we've seen this crash. So, we've seen all of this different change that has happened, and now we're back where it feels like people are having to make offers and decisions really quick. Well, I think that's why it's important that you meet with a professional, with a realtor, a good lender, and figure out what it is that you want, what it is that you're qualified for, approved for. And then once you find it, you've got to make that decision and move forward.
And that is different than in the past few months, And
Absolutely.
It's probably a little bit scarier for somebody to just jump into because, the Seattle market's hot, but when you watch the national news, not exactly what everybody else is talking about.
Well, the Case-Shiller Index just came out last week and said that we were still in, a declining market. And, that's not what I'm feeling. That's not what a lot of my colleagues are feeling. And a lot of lenders that I work with are feeling as well.
That data, though, that was from February 15th.
I was just going to say, you beat me to it.
And, we talked on this show at length about, I swear it was February 15th is when it turned.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was an overnight thing. Don't you agree?
It was February 15th, I promise.
I'm sure February 14th you were having a different conversation than on February 15th and on February 16th.
That's right. February 14th, we were figuring out where I was going to go for Valentine's Day. February 15th, hot real estate market. Jesse,
natural transition right there.
You know it. Jesse, we have to go to break. Thanks so much for joining us. When we come back, we're all going to come